Hi guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about the usability project in this lecture. I just want to make sure everyone understands the requirements and what my expectations are. I'm also seeing that I look a little bit dark and fuzzy in the bottom corner here. Sorry about the quality. Hopefully it's going to be okay. I prefer to give you guys something that has someone actually speaking to you so you can feel like you're interacting. So again, I want to talk about the outline for the test plan. This is adapted from Barnum. Again, make sure that you read chapter 5 of the Barnum book that's on reserve. You don't have to read the whole book. It is helpful if you have the time and want to know a little bit more about it. But definitely make sure that you're reading chapter 5 because that's going to really help you. Barnum has some samples. The test, I believe, is around 17 pages. And that may seem a little bit overwhelming at first, but we're not doing every section that Barnum is doing. And also, not all the pages have full content. So you might see bulleted items on a page. It's not necessarily full paragraphs of text that you're going to see. You might be making tables to talk about your participants. It's whatever format you come up with your partner. So definitely don't feel like the amount is overwhelming. And I want to go a little into the sections that I expect you to have. And for this, you can also look along with the Holiday Inn sample report that's in the folders for you to look at. Those are in the course documents section. If you need any help finding them, let me know. So for purpose, I want a preview of what the document is about, essentially. So what's going to be covered in your test plan. You already did a section on your audience analysis. That's going to be incorporated later as well. These are all things that you would need to include in your usability test. So then I'm expecting a problem statement and test objectives. And these really relate to the purpose of the site. So what is the user going on their website to do? What's their main objective? What tasks do they want to complete? So these are the questions that you want to be answered. And they're also the questions that your client would want answered as well. So you're really just providing them the information that they would need, as well as your suggestions on how to improve the usability so that users can complete this task. Now we're going to go into the methodology and tasks and scenarios. I asked you to do 3 different types of testing. You're going to see the other 2 actually on the next slide. I'm going to pop ahead for a second. You'll see text-focused testing and expert-focused testing is also listed on there, but the main focus is going to be user-focused testing, as we've talked about before. So I'm expecting a section on participants. In this case, you can put profiles under the participants section. I don't have a problem with that, because I also want you to add a section on the number of participants. I want you to justify to me why you're picking the amount of people that you are for your study. So I gave a recommendation to see the Nielsen article, and that would be Jacob Nielsen. You guys looked at articles on his website before. I believe they're alert boxes. You went through and talked about some of the articles, so definitely revisit, look at that article, and then talk to your partner about how many participants you're going to test. Then I'd like to know just generally, what are the length of your sessions, the overall length of time for participants, and then the length of time for each test. So if you had an overview, a closing, and all of your scenarios, and you thought, okay, I can finish this in 20 minutes. You still wouldn't want to say you can be done in 20 minutes because you're not leaving room for questions. My expectation is around 30 to 40. It's based on how many scenarios you're going to have. And so there's room to be a little bit more flexible there, but I'd like you to give an estimate to me of the amount of time. And then you're going to go into the test procedures section, and that's where like the main bulk of the test is written. So you're going to have an overview or briefing. And these are time estimates. It definitely doesn't have to be 10 minutes down to the minute. If it took you 4 minutes and you got all the information out, that's okay. Then we have scenario 1, 2, going on. I listed 6 as an optional. Do I expect you to have 5 scenarios? You might. You might also have 4. I would be concerned if you had 2 scenarios, so definitely keep around the 4 scenario range and you should be pretty good. I just want to make sure that you have enough content that you're getting or feedback that you're getting that you're able to fully give suggestions for this website. And then we have a closing, and that's going to include talking to the user and telling them what the purpose of the usability test was. And again, like included in that overview and briefing, we talked about this before, but you're going to be reminding the participant that you're not testing them, you're testing the website. And I know it might seem silly saying this on repeat, but it's something that even at my company we have to do each time. These are internal participants, and we have to tell them if they participated last month versus this month. We still need to remind them of that. So it's a standard protocol. And I also want you to include information on the moderator's role. What's that person going to be doing? So that you're not going to see in the Barnum section, but I want you to include it. What's your role as the moderator? What do you need to get done? Now we're going to go on to the next page of methodology, and I recommend that you look again at the Think Aloud protocol, because in your opening and your briefing, you're going to have to explain to the user what Think Aloud protocol is. Some users will forget as they're going on with the test. You might notice that they're silent, so you may actually have to prompt them and say, so what are you thinking while you're doing this? So really the expectation is like, I'm entering a number, I'm pressing enter, I'm scanning the web page for the search results, but I don't see what I'm looking for. That's the type of information that you're looking for. And as a note taker, you want to be recording that word for word, but you also should be recording it with some sort of equipment, whether that's a recorder, video camera, computer recording. It'd be great if we had eye recognition software. We don't have that available, but you need to let me know what you're going to be using to follow that Think Aloud protocol, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. And for scenario samples, you can also see the Holiday Inn test plan. If you don't have that open now, definitely go take a look at that one. Now, I want to go into a little bit more about the test plan. So you would see in an official usability report, the evaluation room, the control room, the executive viewing room. You're not going to have an executive viewing room in this case. So really, I'm just looking for what sort of environment have you set up and what equipment are you using? So you probably need a computer. You probably need a notebook and pencils. You need to have your questionnaires printed out so that people can sign and give consent. Maybe you want to have a bottle of water there for the participant. That's definitely not required, but if it's something that you want to do, you can definitely list that. Anything that would be about the evaluation, like sometimes companies will go into what is the temperature of the room, what chairs are you using, are you using a window that gets light in the morning and therefore the user might be distracted by the lights. So these are the kind of things that you would be expecting to include in there. Next, data collection. You're going to be doing quantitative and qualitative data. So an easy way to remember that is qualitative words, quantitative numbers. So for quantitative, you might be doing something like timing the person to complete a task. So user A completed the task in 3.5 minutes, but user B completed the task in 4.12 minutes, or you can write it as 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Whatever you and your partner decide to do, just make sure it's consistent with each user. Now for qualitative, that's where the Think Aloud protocol is coming in. So you might be noting direct quotes that the user said, like, oh, I hate this section because why did they say they hate it? It also might be signs of frustration. Maybe they leaned forward and they rubbed their head, or they were tapping because they were frustrated, or they were moving the mouse a lot because they didn't know what to do. Those are visual cues that you're going to be looking out for that are also very good ways to get feedback. You can see how frustrated a person is. You can see if they're having problems completing a task based on where their mouse is going. You're going to know how to complete the task. So maybe you see their mouse going back and forth on the screen, and I think Screencast-O-Matic was actually tracking my mouse, so that was probably pretty annoying, but that would be something that you'd be looking for if the person is using the mouse kind of as a reading tool or a scanning tool to keep themselves to keep track of where they are in the document. That's something that you would want to note. And then for project deliverables, there'd be a test report, presentation. You are going to be doing a presentation in the last week. And it's really just what you would be presenting to the client. So pretend that I'm your client and you want to recommend the changes to me. And all the changes that you're recommending, you need to be able to back up with some sort of factual feedback that really happened. Now, you also might have appendices. These are just samples. I don't think you will have every one of these, but you could see A through B. We have a screener, we have a pre-test questionnaire, we have a post-task questionnaire, we have a post-test questionnaire, and I also listed consent forms, which wasn't listed in the sample that I looked at, but I would really expect that you're going to have a consent form created. Again, you can look for samples. You don't have to recreate the wheel too much here. There's a lot of good samples in the reports that I listed and also just online that you can look up. And you're really just getting the person's consent to participate, first of all, to let them know that they are not being tested and to let them know that they can stop the test at any time if they want to. But really, you just want to get the consent on doing the test and being recorded. So those are the main things that I'm looking for in your report. If you have any questions, definitely reach out and ask them in the next couple of days if you can, because you need to get started testing your participants. I know it's sometimes a little difficult doing that in a group, so you're going to have to work together and figure out how you're going to divvy up the testing. If you happen to both be in Philadelphia, maybe you can meet up and do it in the same day, but I know some of our students are either remote or even in different states, so that might not be possible, and you'll have to figure out how you're going to divide that testing up. As always, if you have any questions, reach out to me. And there's also another Word document posted with this lecture that you should go ahead and take a look at. So thanks, guys. I look forward to seeing your projects. Bye.